Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. Today I show you how to make this delicious, absolutely perfect gizzard stew recipe. I'm using chicken gizzards for this recipe. Let's get into it. Here I have my nicely washed chicken gizzards. I'll be leaving a video on how to wash your gizzards very well, okay? So turn on your notification bells and be expecting the video. So to steam my gizzards, I'm going to be chopping some onion and habanero pepper into my blender, and then I'll also be making use of some ginger powder, some garlic powder, peppercorns, anise seeds, and rosemary. I'm adding that in and then pouring in enough water to blend, and I'm going to blend this and we'll be back. I'll also be making use of some tomatoes. I'll be using all these tomatoes and I'll be blending it with some habanero peppers and then just one of this onion. I'll be slicing the rest of the onions and setting it aside to use later. I'm giving it a good blend. You may omit the habanero peppers if you do not like pepper in your stew, okay? So to my pan here, I'm going to be adding in the nicely washed gizzards. I also have some chicken back and I thought why not add it as well. You may use only gizzards or add any other protein of your choice. So this is where I add my blended spices that I showed you earlier, rinsing in the blender as well. I'm going to be spicing this with some stock cube and some salt. I'm also going to add some powdered pepper. You may use any spice of your choice, okay? So this is under medium heat. I'm going to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm just going to give it a very generous mix and then allow it to cook very well until it gets to the tenderness I like. So because the chicken back is soft, I wouldn't want to cook this for too long, because if I fry it, the chicken back and the gizzards will soften again in the oil. So I'm just going to let this cook until it's to my desired tenderness. You should also do this to your desired tenderness. I'm back and I'm going to take out all the proteins and then I'm going to set the stock aside for later. I'll also be skimming off the fat from the stock because I'll be using enough oil for this stew. I wouldn't want too much. So to my pan under medium heat, I'm going to be adding some vegetable oil. You may use any oil of your choice. I want to go ahead and fry my gizzards first. So I like my gizzards nice and brown but not dry, okay? But if you like yours dry, please feel free to do so. I just like them brown and not dry. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the fire at this point and then go ahead and fry my chicken as well. So because the chicken back is soft, as I said earlier, I wouldn't be frying this for too long, just until it browns, and I'm taking this off. I'm also going to fry my onions that I chopped earlier, and I'll be leaving some for later, so stay tuned to see what I'll use this for. I'm going to mix this very well and then let it fry until it becomes translucent. Whilst it's frying, I'm adding some powdered pepper, ginger powder, garlic powder, and some bay leaf as well. So the onions are just going to be fried until they are almost browning. That's what I mean by translucent, in case you do not understand, okay? Once the onions are where I like them, I'm going to add some tomato paste. So I'm using the brand Tasty Tom, and it just takes about 7 to 10 minutes until the tanginess is gone from the tomato paste. But if you are using another brand of tomato paste, please make sure that you are tasting from time to time to be sure that the tanginess is gone before you go ahead and add any other ingredients, okay? That improves the quality of your stew. So once I'm done and the tanginess is gone, I'm going to go ahead and give it a very beautiful stir and add my nicely blended tomatoes, okay? You may skip the tomato paste part if you do not want it as well. I'll give this a very, very, very good mix and then bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll take the cover off and then stir it one more time. So this is how we are going to be cooking our stew. We'll stir it continuously because we do not want it to burn, okay? So this time around, I'm going to cover it halfway and then allow it to cook some more. So you can see that now the oil is settling on top beautifully, but that doesn't mean that the stew is ready. The tomato is still a bit raw in there. So I'm going to give this a very generous mix, and I'm going to go ahead and add our chicken stock from earlier. Remember that I skimmed off the excess oil, so you should do that also if you do not want too much oil in your stew. I gave that a very good mix, and then I'm going to cover it halfway again and then cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes. I want to use this time to thank all of you, my returning subscribers, for your love and support on the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you are new here, hello, this is Vicky in the kitchen. You are welcome. So I'm back to check on my stew, and it has cooked down beautifully, but it's not quite there yet, okay? I'm going to go ahead and give it a very beautiful stir and add the gizzards from earlier. You know, the gizzards is the hardest of the proteins, and we want it to cook very well along with the stew. So once you add it, let it go for about 10 to 15 minutes as well. And then add the onions that we were waiting for. I'm adding it now because it adds so much flavor to the stew. After giving it a good stir, I let it be, as I said earlier, for 10 to 15 minutes. After cooking the gizzards in the stew for some time, I came back to check on it, and it was doing very beautiful. I added the chicken as well. You can see that the tomatoes are cooking down very beautifully. Yes, that's exactly what we want. I'm adding in the chicken back at this point, and then after adding the chicken back, you want to leave it in the stew for about 5 to 10 minutes, just so that the flavors come together nicely. Everything you add has its own flavor, okay? Once that is done, you're going to add some thyme. I added a little bit of thyme because mine was getting finished, unfortunately. But if you have more, please do add. I also added some ginger powder, and I gave that a very good mix and let it be for about 3 to 5 minutes, just so that the flavors come together. It's really important. Don't just add your spices. Let them be there for some time so that the flavors will come together nicely. At this point, I tasted for salt, and I realized I needed just salt. I didn't need so much seasoning anymore because the stew is flavorful on its own. After adding salt, I gave it a very good mix and let it be for about a minute or two, and my stew was nice and ready. I added some habanero pepper for some of that heat. If you do not want habanero pepper, please skip this process, but I promise you it gives it so much flavor. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this recipe, and I'll be glad to read all your nice comments. We had this with some rice, and it went so well. So if you are new here and you've not subscribed yet, my sweetheart, please subscribe and join this growing family. Let us build it together. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your love and support. I'll see you all in my next video. God bless. Bye.